Hello everybody, I'm Luca, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to use Blender, how to install it and how to use it, and how to create a cool animation. So first, what you're going to need to do is go to blender.org/download, or just go to blender.org and navigate to the downloads page. Usually they'll have it on the front page though, the newest version for download. I am going to download Blender 5.0, but you can find earlier versions on GitHub. You can really find everything on the Blender homepage. It's really neat. The Blender community. Blender is limitless. That's one thing you'll learn. You can do anything on Blender. It's crazy. Here you can download on Mac OS, Windows, and Linux, and even Steam. I downloaded it on Linux because that's what my computer is, Ubuntu. Yeah, it takes a little while to download. Such a big package. Now it's downloaded. I already have mine installed, so I'm just gonna open it, but yours will look the same. You're going to open Blender and then delete the default cube. I have no idea why you delete the default cube. You just delete the default cube. It's something you just do. I think it's because it's a different type of cube. I don't know. I just delete it. And then add a new cube. So in this video you'll learn how to create a nice cube and ecosphere animation with colored and a background. Safari background actually. I have the extra mesh add-on, so that makes it so I can have like gears, joints, pipe joints, but you'll just have unless you want to download the extra mesh add-on. I'll put a link in the description. You're just gonna have like the cube, like all the regular meshes. So mesh is pretty much just a shape. And yeah, so this is the timeline below, which I just expanded. The timeline shows you the keyframes and what frame you're on. So currently I'm on frame 1, and that's how you play all the animations you make. You can make an animation by pressing I for inserting a keyframe, and then moving the cube by rotating it, or by scaling it, or by doing anything to the cube, modifying it. And then you press you press I again, and then it pretty much tells Blender like, hey, I did this, and then at frame, for instance, 30, I did this. Estimate the motion in between them. And if you want to make that more precise, like for instance, you want it to go from point A to point B to point C after that, but it's only going from point A to point C, you can add 3 keyframes instead of 2. Again, Blender's possibilities are limitless. I'm just going to add an ecosphere, scale it down, and I'm going to make it so the cube jumps over the ecosphere. And if you want to make an ecosphere just a ball or a sphere, then right when you add the ecosphere, there's going to be a little panel in the bottom left. It's going to say add sphere, and then you can increase the subdivisions by the slider. But yeah, Blender is great. I've been doing it since August 2025, and I've learned so much from it, and the Blender community has really helped, and YouTube, and GitHub, not GitHub, Reddit. I get them mixed up sometimes, I don't know why. And if you see that yellow banner, that means that you press the same key twice and you haven't moved or modified anything. That can be good or bad depending on what you're doing. If you're doing like a simple animation like this, it's bad because that means it'll stop for a certain period of frames. How many frames that yellow banner is on, it'll stop and then continue right after that. So I just deleted it. And I'm gonna make it, as I said, jumping over the ecosphere, and then hopefully I'm gonna make it scale it up and then jump over a bigger ecosphere. Yeah. and you can drag that blue line to back and forth to see your keyframes and to see pretty much what you're doing. If you ever, like pretty much like on a YouTube video, you can rewind it and just drag that back and forth to see what you've done and see. It's just pretty much just like a play and rewind button. And then you can Shift D to duplicate it. And then S to scale it. And then I'm just gonna grab that, hold it up there, and insert a keyframe. To side down, and then to the side again. Also, whenever you're doing Blender, you're going to need to know the axes, X, Y, and Z, because you're going to be using that pretty much every time you go into Blender. You can press Scale and Shift X, Shift Y, Shift Z, or Scale X, Y, Z, and grab X, Y, Z, or grab Shift X, Y, Z. Shift means everything but that. So for instance, I press Shift X, it's everything but X. So 2 axes, Y and Z. So pretty much everything but X, or Shift Y, Z, and X. Pretty cool. And then in order to go in the camera, you can press that little camera icon on the side. And to move the camera, you can press grab by selecting the camera frame, that yellow thing right now. Grab, and to rotate it, you can press R to rotate it in a single axis, or press RR to rotate it off all axes. But yeah, and you can grab that, and you can animate the camera if you couldn't, if you didn't know. But you can also press numpad 0. It's either control numpad or numpad 0. I don't use it that often. I just use the logo because I do Blender on a Mac computer, on a Linux, and on a Windows. So I don't have the control numpad. I mean, I don't have the numpad function on there. And yeah, if your animation, if you can't fit in the camera view, just drag your camera out. And if you ever can't see something, that's the clip start and end. I'll have that in another video though. And as you can see, it's looking pretty good. And yeah, I'm gonna animate the camera to go with the cube, so it's not like the cube's not gonna jump up out of the camera frame. And I'm gonna animate the camera pretty much. It's gonna look weird once I add the HDRI in there. The HDRI is pretty much just a panorama, a 360 view picture of something, and it usually comes in EXR form. I'll talk about that later though. Let's see. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. So yeah, I'm just gonna get out of the camera view. You can just do that by rotating around. But yeah, you always want to check the animation once. Actually, you can check 3 times before you render it, because usually something goes wrong. And once you render it, you've successfully. If you render it and it's not good, you've wasted a lot of time, because rendering takes a lot of time unless you're going on EV engine. I usually use Cycles, which takes so long. Okay, so you're gonna go into the shader editor, and then make sure it's on object. Then create a new material and just click on that white button pretty much, and just do that for both, so it colors them. Do that for all of the objects. And you can also do add textures to that. You can go on Polyhaven and download a texture, for instance a wood texture, and you're gonna want the Node Wrangler, by the way. Download that extension, but it's very handy. Now once you've colored everything, I made one purple, purplish blue, orange and green, and hopefully, yeah, I'm gonna get I'm going to go to polyhaven.com/HDRIs. Polyhaven is great for models, textures, and HDRIs. And so pretty much an HDRI is just, as I said, panoramic of something. You can download it. And as I said, it comes in a .exr file. And then you're going to go into the shader editor again, except on the left tab, it's in the left corner where it says Object. Click World. I'll do that here in a second. Yeah, so right there where it says Object, click World. It's going to say Line Style, but just click World. Then Shift A, search Environmental Texture. And then, as you're going to see, it's going to have a yellow color dot and another. Just connect those two yellow color dots. And then when it says Open, click Open and go to wherever you kept your EXR and click that. And then you're going to want to go into the Render right there up in the corner, right-hand corner. And as you can see, it looks like a Safari. And it should. If it doesn't, then you're going to have to do some researching. I'll make a video on that. But yeah. So this is, you're only going to see, so when it renders, you're only going to see what's in the camera. You're not going to see pretty much what's on your screen right now. You're going to see what's in the camera. And you can shift the camera up and down, side to side. I adjust the focal length to zoom out, because if you just zoom out, it's not going to affect the HDRI. You should just, as you can see right now, I'm moving the camera up and down, and yet the HDRI is not moving. So you're going to have to do Control on either camera view or HDRI. So yeah, it looks pretty good right now. And yeah. Now you can play it again, and the axis lines or the or the light, I can actually delete that, or the light will not be visible in the render. The only things that will be visible in the render are the HDRI, unless you click transparent film, which you would do that for other reasons, or the HDRI, the objects, the HDRI and the objects. That's the only thing that will be visible in the render. I'm gonna add a plane. I kind of want to do the shadow catcher. The reason why it doesn't look square is because I adjusted the focal length, which is the zoom pretty much. No, it's not going to do that. Darn it. Okay. So wait, you can make a pretty cool shadow catcher. I'll put that again in another video. You can actually create VFX where you film a video. Anyway, I'll save that for later. And then what we're going to do is put the output. I want JPEG. I put JP2 there. JPEG is a smaller file size. You're going to go into the output tab and then click the file thing right there. And then yeah, click what type, click where you want all your pictures are going to go. You can render this as a video or animation or pictures. So there are 144 frames there. That means it's going to take pretty much 144 pictures of it. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit there, but I have Eevee. Eevee is a lot faster than Cycles. Interesting fact, because it's pretty much like a game engine. So it's a lot faster, but Cycles is a lot better because it actually captures real, like pretty much rays. It looks a lot more realistic. Anyway, now it's at frame 144. Then you're going to save it. You should always save it. Yeah, Control S, Untitled Blend. It's the default. I'm just gonna save it. And then File, New, or Control N, Video Editing. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into your Downloads page or wherever you stored your pictures, and then click all of your pictures, every single one, all 144 of them. I will put the link for the .blend file in the description. It's going to be Google Drive, of course, because I can't import can't import a .blend file on the YouTube, just generic YouTube. And then you're going to drag it, and it's going to say image strip. So drag it and always to channel 1. It doesn't matter if you do it to channel 2, channel 3, it's just for convenience. If you're adding audio or another video, you can always overlay it. So channel 1. I'm not going to add audio this time, but you're welcome to. It's not that hard. I'll make another video for that. I a lot of videos on my bucket list now. And you can press play, pause, and then once more, we're going to need to adjust your frame length. So, for instance, there's also a button for this. I just like to do it manually. I know I had 144 frames. It's not going to say it up there manually. You just remember, oh, 144 pictures, 144 frames. 24 frames per second. You need, for instance, you rendered out for 12 frames per second. And you render it in the video editing for 24. It's going to look very weird, so make sure you have the same frames per second. So, yeah. And then you're going to want to render it once more. You can also just make it directly into a video file on Blender, minus the video editing, but you just have a lot more control if you do video editing. A shortcut for rendering is Control F12. If you want to render the animation, if you just want to render the image, F12. Select your desired folder for where you want the video to go. And yeah, just hit the file render. Or render, not file. Just render animation. And it's going to be 144 frames, so it's going to take a long time. I recommend if you're doing something more realistic than a simple animation, you're going to want to do cycles. Cycles and Eevee are very different. They have different settings, so I suggest that you learn the tips and tricks with cycles and Eevee. Yeah. The thing with Eevee is, if you try to do like a realistic thing, and you try to add a shadow, yes you can, it's so hard. Like, you have to go into the shaded editor and just do so many things, add so many nodes, but it's just one simple checkbox for cycles. Eevee's a lot faster rendering though. Eevee is EVEE. Cycles is just cycles. I don't know the acronym. I don't know what it stands for. Probably should. But frame 78. Yeah, it takes a very long time. So this would be a good time to say, if you like my videos, please subscribe. And please like the videos. I am a small content creator. I don't get that many views. I don't get that many subscribers. I don't get that many likes. So if you could contribute, that'd be great. And it's still rendering. But I'll have another video of how you can create a cinematic masterpiece with Blender. You can literally create something, for instance, a film with your friend. You're filming, and then you want a monster to walk up on you and say hi or something. You can do that. You can do that with Blender. You can do every single thing in there with Blender. You can create the shadow, you can create the monster, you can rig the monster, you can make it walk, you can make it wave high, you can make the monster dance. It's crazy the possibilities you can use with Blender. Rigging it, I'll have in another video. I've said I'll have it in another video about 10 times now. Okay, so now it's at frame 144. And then I'm just going to scroll up all the JP2 images. I usually like JPEG. And then it's going to show 001 to 004. 144, excuse me. And then you're going to see your animation. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that is how you create a simple animation with Blender. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like.